picking up, you know, the pieces and the wreckage from last week's storms that were left behind. And trees are one of the culprits of the biggest damage that we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, I have 2 rental houses we're talking about, and one was condemned because a huge oak tree literally went through the middle of the house, sliced it in half. Wow. And you know, it's hard to fix something. I'm going to try. Yeah. But you have to think about it. Okay, so if you have big trees, first of all, do you plant? What do you replant? Because will this ever happen again? And unfortunately, we love homes with big trees, and you have that at your house. But there's always a risk with not only a tornado, but big, huge thunderstorms, and those trees could fall towards the house. So the first thing you want to do is check out the location of the trees to your home. And if it's very close to your home, you might want to consider removing it so you do not have future problems. But also what has happened is a lot of trees weren't destroyed, but they were completely disfigured. And a lot of times we don't know what to do with the trees. Are they too bad? Should we just cut them down and such? For example, at the Edgemont house, we had a tornado years ago that came through before I owned it. My neighbor had a huge oak tree in her front yard and lost the whole half of the tree. Wow. Yeah. So instead of taking it out, she cut the tree, had the tree cut, and it has put out all new sucker growth and has become a beautiful tree again. So trees can rebound.
Okay, because we see that a lot with tornadoes, just lop off the top of
or you see the foliage all gone and such. So you might want to have a tree company trim it and clean it, but then hopefully it should flush back out because you can't replace a tree like that in our lifetime. Right. You know, because it takes 20, 30 years to at least get a good size of a tree. Now, if you're going to plant new trees, you're going to ask, well, what do I do? Here's what I suggest. Of course, oak trees and maple trees will get big, so plant them farther from your house. Okay. You know, and when we were talking about where storms come from, with a tornado, it whirls around, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't always come from the south. It doesn't always come from the west. I always thought you plant trees in the north part of your house, it's going to blow that way. Oh, yeah. You know, but that's not always the case. No. So I use ornamental trees. And ornamental trees, and they're called ornamental trees because they are trees, but they're smaller trees.
Like a Japanese maple.
Like a Japanese maples are great trees. I brought, my favorite is Yoshino cherry. I mean, they can still get a spread of 40 to 50 foot, but they only get about 40 foot tall. So if they fell, they're not going to do significant damage to a home or cut through the middle of a house. Right. So you might want to start thinking about substituting with smaller versions of trees, and that's going to help a lot. And I think next time, if anything ever does happen, let's hope it doesn't, at least you're reassured that you're going to be maybe better off.
Yeah, the tree damage is definitely what we're seeing mostly. And
in landscapes. I mean, right now, no one's thinking about landscape. Right. Because all you want to do is save your home. And tree companies come in, they have to use their skid loaders. It's a mess right now, but in time it will get back to normal, and eventually it becomes a neighborhood again.
Yeah, so something to think about though.
When you're thinking about this, planting softwood versus hardwood, as far as, you know, mitigating damage in the future, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, softwoods are, of course, yes. Hardwoods are, of course, are big, and they do have hardwood. So when a storm comes, sometimes they fall as one piece, as softwoods will disassemble and come apart. Yeah. So it's less likely you're going to have damage. Yes, you definitely want to take that in consideration. But remember, when you do softwoods, they can also break easier with ice storms and snow. So there's good and bad to both. I know, but selective pruning does help. If you limb up your trees and shape them over the years, likely if they do fall, they may cause less damage.
I've always heard pine trees are
well,
really bad
pine
for
trees
storms.
have a bad rap. It's like bamboo. People hate bamboo. I like pine trees, but they're all on top. As oak trees are all the way down, a lot lower, so they're more stable. So when it's on top, they topple over quicker.
Pine trees, yeah.
If you have a tree that's leaning towards your house, some people have trees, big trees, just leaning toward our house, they're not worried about it. I suggest you remove those because one day that probably will go that direction.
So I know people, I mean, look, it still looks like a bomb has gone off in a lot of central Arkansas here. So maybe they're not worried about planting these, but when we're thinking about this, when's the best time to plant new trees?
Good question. You know, if you have a sprinkler system, you can do it any time during the year. But normally fall, like deciduous trees, when they lose their leaves, they go through less shock. So you want to plant them in fall in the wintertime, and then they'll root out during the wintertime, and they'll flush out and be a little bit stronger for you and better off when the heat of summertime comes.
So do you call it, when you have these in a garden, is it called a fairy garden? That's what I was told.
No, but that
different?
was actually all the rage a couple years ago.
Really?
It's still
Okay.
big, but not as it was before. Now it's all about gnomes.
Okay.
And kind of it's like the adult version, bigger size of a fairy garden. But do you know the history and the legend behind gnomes?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you lied. You're good. You're good.
I want to know the history behind it.
Well, they have been around for centuries, and gnomes, legend is that if they're in your garden, they're little dwarf people. And in the olden days, they weren't very attractive. They were scary looking, of course. We Americanized them. We made them really cute.
Yeah, this
well,
one's
what they
pretty
do
cute.
is they actually protect the earth's treasures in your garden. So maybe if you introduce some gnomes into your garden, you may be able to dig up some treasures in time.
Well, my very good friend, Rhianna Nicodemus, is a huge gnome fan, so she's like really excited right now. So will these keep the birds away?
No, they won't.
The squirrels?
They won't keep the, they may be a little bit, but I brought all different types of
I like
gnomes.
this one.
Well, they're so cute. This one is a planter.
Yeah, you can
So
actually
you
plant
just,
something in
you
there.
can
I don't know
drop
if you-
anything inside or outside. It has a little flower on it. Love the color of it. Drop a plant, and then you can always
Cute.
add maybe some ceramic mushrooms in there and such.
and it
it just,
wiggles.
yeah.
This is psychedelic.
It's really, this is actually addictive. You can get too many
Oh my
gnomes in your
gosh, I
garden.
can see that.
They got the little guys. Now, this one is my favorite, and you know why?
It looks vintage.
Yes, I love
I like
vintage
that.
things, and so they can be classy too. So they don't have to be too cutesy for the garden. But I love that one. This one has kind of like a vine head on him, beautiful with the bird, and of course this one has the sunflower and even yin yang yoga.
Oh, cute.
Ones.
Here's some other planters too.
And they're little planters. And you know what? They are the rage right now. Everyone's asking for gnomes. So if you're looking for the perfect gift to give someone, whether they are gardener or not, a gnome in the garden brings a lot of good luck. I also
They
do
kind
this.
of scare me, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, but these are cute though.
I saw one of those Goosebump episodes one time and they all
when
came
come
to
alive.
life.
Yeah, but they usually have big noses and warts on
They
their
kinda
face.
scared me.
What I
But
also
they are
do
cute.
is when you introduce them in your garden, you can also introduce them into your potted containers. For example, you can put this in the terracotta clay pot, kind of push down the side, and then
Wow.
set it up on the top. And look,
That
it's a
is
cute
cute.
display at your
That
front
is so
door. Now
cute.
you can pin this down a little bit more. So there's all different uses. So even if I have a big potted plant on my front door, I will like tuck in one of these little gnomes.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the focal point from the street, but when someone walks up to your door and it says welcome,
And it's like a
they
little
smile.
hello.
Yes,
They
they're
smile.
fun.
You know,
They're fun.
you touched on something. You can go overboard on certain things, right? I see some yards I'm like, wow, that's too much. So can you give some advice on like, what's the
Well,
right amount of
I mean,
whatever?
Visually, you have to be very careful. It's like, the old saying, too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing.
Sure.
So yeah, maybe I usually do odd numbers. So 3 to 5 or so in one little area is plenty. If you go beyond that, you're trying too hard. And
you might have an obsession.
yeah, it's a sickness. It's a sickness.
That's me. I'm like, it's either like too much or not
Or too
enough.
little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, oh, that one's cute. Let me get that one too.
Yeah.
These are cute though, and I like how that you can do so much with them. I think this one is my favorite though.
That's
I love
your
that
favorite.
one.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite?
I don't know.
And is this one like kind of like bird seeds
You
or
have
what?
a bird seed in here.
Yeah.
And it can be water for birds to drink from. So it's real cute.
Well, this kind of reminds me of me, you know, because
yeah,
Just chilling?
that's
kinda
what you used to look like before you got a haircut. It was
Oh, yep, that's true. All right, well, you just saw the information. You can find Chris at Botanica Gardens or at Plantopia. You're in Little Rock, North Little Rock. So, yeah, make sure that you reach out if you want to check out some of these cute little gnomes. But apparently, this is all the rage
don't
right
try
now.
to steal that, Ashley.
Okay, so this is the time that you want to start pre-emerging your lawn so your summer weeds don't take hold. I'm going to show you, I need y'all's help,
Okay.
how a pre-emerge works. Do you know how a pre-emerge works?
No.
Like where they spray your yard? Okay, so I'm
They
going to need
spray
you.
my yard?
Well,
You
they
spray
should
your
be, or
yard.
someone should be spraying your yard.
Okay, so I'm going to hold this.
You're the soil.
Okay, this is soil.
Okay, and you're going to be the pre-emerge. So first, you hold that.
Okay.
Before you do it, not yet.
What's
So
pre-emerge?
I'm the seed. Okay, pre-emerge. Okay, pre-emerge is the chemical that you apply to your turf. You can either do it if you're a do-it-yourselfer in granular form, or you can spray it on. If you have a commercial applicator, they spray it on. And this is how it works. So let's say this is a seed
Yeah.
that is about to germinate. That's why you don't wait too long, because once a seed germinates germinates and you don't spray it, it's too late. So now you're going to spray with a liquid. Okay, so that liquid pre-emerge turns into a gas. So there's a gas barrier over your whole entire turf. Now it doesn't keep the seeds from germinating, it just mutates them and they die. So now I'm going to start to germinate.
Look at it, look at it growing.
Boom. It's dead.
Oh, it's dead.
No, yeah, that was premature right there.
Oh, you were premature.
Okay, so the seed, it mutates the seed that's germinated and it doesn't take hold. Now, if you didn't pre-emerge, I'll go into that. If you didn't pre-emerge, or the seed starts to grow and then you spray, it's too late. It already germinated. That's why you have to do it now until March. Well, it's real easy. That's why if you're not a do-it-yourselfer, honestly, Adam, it's easier to get a chemical company to do it for you.
More money.
But so I brought the pre-emerge for your turf, either granular or liquid.
So this is what Adam needs.
This is what Adam needs. Now, if you have existing weeds, now you can go ahead and use what we call a post-emergent. A post-emergent means the weeds already have germinated and you can spray that and kill the existing weeds.
Oh, so it's not too late.
No, it's not too late. And sometimes if you're doing, you can do both. You can pre-emerge and also post-emerge any existing weeds and keep your turf clean.
Look at that.
Now there's also pre-emerge for your flower beds.
Oh.
So if you're tired of weeding your flower beds, you just sprinkle this along and it will help prevent any of your spring or summer weeds from germinating.
Mine looks so bad right now. So I need to get out
Are
of
you
there
a do-it-yourselfer too?
I'm a half do-it-yourselfer, half hire somebody.
Her husband does it all.
Yeah.
Well, you do this to your flower beds.
Now?
Weed your flower beds
We
now.
need to do it now.
Yeah, because right now crabgrass and all that are about to germinate.
I know, I've been seeing green. Like a lot of
Yes.
green.
Lots of
not
green.
necessarily
So is it
in
too
my
late
yard.
for the pre-emergent?
No. All the way through March, you're okay. But you
Okay.
want to do it now. It
So if we're
depends upon
seeing
weather.
green like out and about, is that weeds? Because like
Yes.
my yard is still brown. But,
Well, that's a good sign.
so
now,
that means the grass has
yeah, and now here's one quick thing. If you pre-emerge and you have some weeds, what happens is if we have a lot of rain, as we do, rain, foot traffic, dog traffic, that breaks that barrier and weeds can still germinate even if you're on a chemical program.
Gotcha. Wow.
Stay
makes
off
sense.
my lawn.
That's exactly true.
I
Tell
don't
the
even
kids to
try
stay
in my
inside.
backyard anymore. Oh my goodness. Are you one of those people?
What's that?
Get off my yard.
No, I want to be neighborly.
Yeah.
You
Even
know,
if it means that your yard doesn't
human
look good.
beings are more important than your grass. I'm sorry, Chris.
No, I agree with you.
That's why you gotta treat it and stay on top of it.
Yeah, but you want to look good.
Now, can I kill my lawn if I do this wrong?
Well, thank you for bringing that up because you always want to go by the directions. Remember, it depends upon your turf type and what kind of pre-emerge you use.
For goodness
like if you have St.
This
Augustine.
is why I just come to you or have
well,
you
this
come
is
out.
why you just have someone do it.
Because this is a lot.
Yes.
I just feel like there are people that study up on this and they're really into it and they're really good at it, but I'm already confused.
Well, you just want to read the bag because
doesn't take
St.
a lot.
Augustine turf takes a very special type of pre-emerge or a reduced rate. Otherwise, it will burn and die in patches. So that's why you always want to read the directions if you can use it on your type of turf.
Now, in full disclosure, if Chris has to cough, it's because we've been trying these herbs. You can eat some of these herbs, right, Chris?
I swallowed it wrong, so sorry.
It's kind of stuck in his, in his lungs. But spring is here, and so are the pesky pests that are out there in our yards and our flower beds. And you're telling us that there are ways that we can maybe help deter those.
Yeah, there are lots of plants that can get rid of or make sure they stay out of your yard.
Okay. All
Now,
right.
I'm not a chemical type of guy, so I like to do more organic and natural, but sometimes you have to use chemicals. So usually anything with a strong scent fragrance to its leaves smells great to us, but not to insects and certain animals like rabbits and deer.
Okay.
So I brought some samples. Sorry, I ate one of the mint
You ate
leaves.
some mint, and it's
I
just
ate the
stuck.
strawberry mint and I swallowed it wrong, but nonetheless.
Was it good?
It wasn't that good. It wasn't worth it, but I'm doing okay.
Okay, you're good.
All right, first thing is citronella.
Yep.
A lot of people, you know what this really is?
Well,
what kind of plant this is, citronella?
it looks like a tomato plant, but obviously it isn't.
It is a geranium.
Oh.
Now go ahead and smell it.
Okay, all right.
Rub it.
Oh, yeah.
It comes in lemon, it comes in lime, it comes in rose. It actually does bloom. But this is wonderful, but the fragrance is strong, but mosquitoes hate it.
Yeah.
Great in pots on the patio or such. That's where I use a lot of these plants.
For someone with a black thumb like myself, can I keep something like this alive relatively easy?
Just water. You
Just
gotta water it.
Okay. Does it like full sun, half sun?
Oh, full sun, semi-shade is okay.
Okay, all
And then I mix it with other herbs. So we got lavender is really good at keeping insects out of the garden. Rosemary, very strong fragrance. Basil,
Yeah.
lemon balm or lemon verbena is wonderful.
Yeah.
And the mints, all these different mints I brought too.
Yeah.
We have chocolate mint, ginger mint, strawberry mint is the one I chose
Yes.
on, spearmint, and regular mint.
You did so good, brother. Is this marigolds?
Yes, there are also blooming plants that are strong in fragrance. Marigolds, lantana, and this is a temporary annual vine, but go ahead and rub that and smell
Okay,
that.
all right,
Strong.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, called plectranthus. Very strong fragrance. Some people don't like it, but I'm telling you what, you won't have any insects in your patio.
It smells like an essential oil or something.
Chris Olsen's back. In fact, show him your back, Chris. That way you'll know where he's from.
Craig's like, where are you from? I'm like,
Oh, yeah, but
how many
Craig,
years? 20 years I've been here. I mean,
good to have you back.
Thank you.
When I see a deer, I think it's a great moment. I talk to them. I love to see deer. I want them to come up and I just want to feed them. Chris is here because that's not the case with everybody.
well, they're not in your yard. That is why.
I see.
Now, you got to live with wildlife. I do believe that. But there's ways to dare-proof your property. And the number one way to dare-proof your property is actually a dog. If you let your dog out and it urinates in your yard, believe it or not, deer sense that and they'll move to the neighbor's house and usually avoid your home.
Wow. I've heard that that's how deer cope, is through the scent.
Through the scent. And so there's, of course, there's invisible fence, which actually simulates coyote urine. So when they smell it, they actually think coyotes are out and about, which, of course, prey on deer, and they go on to the next yard.
How do you get this?
I don't ask
Let's
questions.
don't go there.
Now, this does smell when you spray it, but it dries clear and the scent goes when it dries. So it's not too bad for you. But sometimes you need a little bit more.
Here we go.
So we make what we call dare cages. For example, on my farm, I have tree saplings. Now, once they get a certain age, the deer won't bother them. But right now, they love the small, tender growth. So I had to make cages around each and every one of them so the deer can't reach in and eat the foliage until they get tall enough that they can survive on their own.
And deer are not like squirrels who can always find a way to get around everything you protect. Deer can't get through this.
If it's hard, now their tongues can get through that. So I'm going to show you how you make it. First, you need like 14 gauge fence wire. Now, I like 48 inches high because if it's too shallow, what they do, they can go over and go straight,
14 gauge, 48 inches high.
14 gauge. Okay, so what I did is I'm going to bring this out. I already cut it with a wire cutter. And here's the thing about making a deer cage. It has to be wide enough because if it's small, they can go through here with their tongues and still get to the foliage. So you want it to be much wider than the plant. At least 24 inches is how I do it. Now, I already rolled out a roll and I cut it. And if you see, when I cut it like this. We do that because we want to leave this much length, because we're going to see how we're doing. We take it and then we take that length and we fold it.
Ah, look at you.
See? And you just go all the way down.
How did you discover this?
I actually figure this out on my own.
Really?
This was out of necessity.
Are you on YouTube showing this stuff?
Well, that's why we're here today.
Oh,
we're
that's
doing
right.
it.
Okay,
Anyhow,
well, this
you go
is-
all the way down and then you place it over your tree and then, let me get them. Then you want wood stakes, and you can buy these at any of your lumber yards. And you go inside, and you want 3. So you hammer it down at a slight
Into the
angle.
ground.
Yep, and I'll push it a little bit that way because you want it to stretch out the cage. And then we do the other one like this. And if you do 3 of them, that keeps it in place during windstorms. And if deer kind of bounce against it, what happens is the deer it's too much work for them. They'll move on to something else. Now, sometimes as your plant gets bigger in here, you might need to double cage it to keep them even farther away from it. Now, once the tree gets this tall, usually the deer will only eat the bottom growth, not the top growth.
You have given us a lot of information. People are going to want to review this, especially if they're trying to keep deer out.
And this
real
works.
Quick.
This
Okay,
works.
real quick, give us a heads up. Where would we go for a refresher course?
A refresher course? Well, you can go ahead and log on to, thv11.com because this segment will be on there. Just look up Chris H. Olsen and it'll be right there for you.
See how easy it is to keep deer out and to keep Chris Olsen in a part of your life and making the
There
garden
you
and
go.
the yard better. Chris, as
Thank
always,
you,
thank
sir.
you. We're going to be right back.